get to the Mavs and the Celtics game 3. And like I said, you can't go down 0-3 in an NBA playoff series of any kind. I mean, that is the kiss of death. So just feels like an elimination game. Even though it's not an actual elimination game, it feels like it for the Mavs. At least they'll get to play at home. You just brought up the Kristaps Porzingis injury. He's questionable, but even if he plays, how effective can he be with that injury? And I don't know if he's going to play at all. That's obviously the whole point. So that also for the Mavs, that's an advantage for you playing at home. So hopefully you can get. And to me, the biggest factor is going to be the bounce back of Kyrie. Can Kyrie? Now, he's been struggling. He's averaging, I think, 14 points in this series, 4 assists, shooting like 35% from the floor. Can he have a bounce back campaign and start his bounce back campaign with a bounce back performance in game 3? Yes. That's what you need more than anything. That and your 3-point shots. You got to be better from 3-point range. Yeah. And by the way, the Celtics have been bad from 3-point range too. They hadn't been great either.
No, the defense has been really good on both sides. But, yeah, you have to be able to start hitting some of those. They're giving you open threes just above the break. You have to be able to hit the shots they're giving you because it's going to change the defense completely if you do. And it opens everything up so much more. And that's where those lobs will come back in. But they realize, I mean, are you going to give up dunks that are about a 95% chance of going in? Or are you going to give a three-pointer with a 15 to 20% chance of going in? And it's one more point, but it's 15 to 20 or 95 to 99%.
Simple.
Which one do you want to? Which one are you going to give up to her? And so it's been a smart decision by the Celtics to basically collapse and make it really hard, make it hard on a guy like Kyrie, where he's really good at when he drives finding space to get a shot off, and they're basically not giving him space because they smother him when he gets inside. And then the normal passes that they make to the baseline are cut off. And so it's just a different way of, for people you're looking the way you're looking. And you can say you have eyes in the back of your head or wherever else. But when you have to go in and you're thinking I'm going to score the whole time, and the guy you're supposed to pass to now is behind you and you have to turn completely around to see them, it makes it just harder to make sure the guy's right there, to make sure you're not going to make a costly turnover, ball going the other way, quick 2 points. And we've seen it too many times in this series. So they're going to have to figure out a way to hit threes or at least make them guard you instead of just being able to double off of you when PJ Washington or Derek Jones is sitting out on that 3-point line. You have to be able to get them to not be able to double off of you and get down on Luka or Kyrie. So if that is when you do that, driving in, trying to create contact, trying to create a play of some sort, trying to get them to collapse on you and then get the ball back out to Luka. Because if there's one guy who's shooting well enough, where he's still not shooting great from 3, but he's shooting better than everybody else is, get him the ball more when he's open out there. And I know he doesn't like to necessarily shoot off the catch, so you don't really run a lot of offense for that. But, get him the ball and let him dribble once or let him make a play with a guy coming running out on him versus a guy standing ready and face guarding him. Try and get them to double off of that. And if they don't, go try and make a play at the basket. PJ Washington's bigger than Tatum is. He's taller than him. He can go in there and try and make a play. But if they collapse, you don't want to make that. I think the other side of the ball, it is what does that Porzingis injury do? Because the depth is not really there for the Celtics. If Porzingis comes out, they still have some decent players there, but they're not anything special. And so if you take him out, that rim protection that he has offered a lot in these games, that spark off the bench that has been deadly in the first and second half for the Celtics, where when the Mavs are kind of fighting in it and they're in it, and all of a sudden a guy comes in, the defense picks up for the Celtics when he comes in the game, and his shooting and the shooting picks up. They just score a little bit easier, and it changes the perspective of it being an evenly matched game of the two starting lineups to having that all-star coming off your bench. That he's been able to make that difference. The injury is almost unpronounceable.
Yeah,
there's a reason.
I know. I saw it here because of Sham Sharani. I mean, I'll try. He suffered a torn medial retinaculum, allowing dislocation of the posterior tibialis tendon. I'm sure that I didn't pronounce everything correctly, but that's what Chef's right. And a doctor said this is a fancy way of saying medial ankle sprain. Most ankle sprains are lateral. Medial ankle sprains only make up about 5% of ankle sprains. The
Yes.
medial or flexor, this gets into the retinaculum, is one of the components of the medial ankle ligament complex.
And
Painful
yeah,
and really not something you should be playing on. Degree of injury also matters. So it's extremely rare ankle sprain.
yeah, and
One you
so
don't.
that was what they were talking about, was everything. I've looked into it because of course everyone hired a doctor very quickly to go break this down and
Oh,
try and
all the
get
doctors on Twitter are just out. It was just so
is
many great. I mean, just free diagnosis all over the place. I mean,
pre-diagnosis.
we can solve healthcare, guys. This healthcare crisis can be solved on Twitter with all these doctors out there. They're just giving you information for free.
It was, but basically, it's an ankle injury that can go into the foot. And so it's an
Sounds
injury,
painful,
depending on how bad it is, that
Yeah.
tendon runs through your entire foot. So when it does, it hits kind of like plantar fasciitis does too, and you get the pain throughout your foot. So that was apparently, depending on
For a
how
big
bad
man?
it is.
For big men too.
I know,
You
and
can't
that's
play with that though.
and so the issue
with that.
is, where does the pain? How far does that pain go down on him? Is it something that is causing him to be foot pain as well as ankle pain? Is it just ankle pain? How much of it? You won't know, and he's not going to really tell you, but you'll be able to tell in pregame warmups. So I'll have to figure out, do we need to sit him out at least a game? Do we want to sit him out 2? We're up 2-0. We don't necessarily need him right now. If it's not a major injury, you don't want to put him out there and then have him done for now, and then it be a lingering long-term thing with the foot injury. So anything that starts to go into the foot for big men, you always worry about. It's always a scary thing. So it's one of those injuries where I know he really, really wants to play. I get it. He wants to go back to Dallas and make an impact, and he doesn't want to be sitting on the bench. But I think up 2-0, you might be able to rest him in this. And the biggest question is, can he go play? So if he can go out there and play, you'll probably still play him. He may get a shot like Luka's getting a shot, and try and go out there and play if he can still go out and be a rim protector. But can he jump the same? Can he get the same lift on trying to block shots, or is he going to be a guy who's standing in the paint? Is he a guy that can still shoot threes, or does that take away, is he going to be favoring it a little bit more and missing shots? So if he's missing shots and not being able to block shots, then it doesn't mean anything. That you don't need to have him out there. You don't need to just put him out there as a body. You need to put him out there if he's a positive body for you. But that is a big question for the Celtics, because he is game one. He's the one who broke the game wide open and put the game out of reach in the first half. In game two, it was where the Mavs were more dictating the pace of the game until he came back in, because it changed the way they could rim protect.